European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said on Thursday she was outraged by deadly Russian strikes on Kiev, which also damaged the EU mission building. According to Associated Press, von der Leyen said 2 missiles landed within 50 meters of the EU's offices within 20 seconds of each other earlier in the morning. Russia's wider bombardment of the capital killed at least 15 people and injured 48, local authorities said. The numbers were expected to rise, with rescue teams still working to recover people trapped under the rubble of damaged buildings. Von der Leyen said no EU staff were among those harmed. She said the attacks were a grim reminder that Moscow would stop at nothing to terrorize Ukraine. It was the first major Russian attack on Kiev in weeks as US-led peace efforts to end the 3-year war struggled to gain traction. According to Ukraine's Air Force, 598 strike drones and decoys and 31 missiles of different types were launched across, making it one of the war's biggest air attacks. Russia's Ministry of Defense said it carried out a strike against military air bases and companies within Ukraine's military-industrial complex, using long-range weapons, including Kinzhal missiles. It comes as Ukrainian drones have repeatedly struck refineries and other oil infrastructure in recent weeks in an attempt to weaken Russia's war economy, causing gas stations in some Russian regions to run dry and prices to spike.
I'm outraged by the attack on Kyiv, also hitting our EU offices. This was the deadliest drone and missile attack on the capital since July. And as you can see behind me on the screen, it was an attack also on our delegation. I just spoke with our deputy ambassador, and I'm relieved that none of our staff were harmed. Last night's attack struck in close proximity of the diplomatic mission, the representation of our union. 2 missiles hit in a distance of 50 meters of the delegation within 20 seconds. And this is another grim reminder of what is at stake. It shows that the Kremlin will stop at nothing to terrorize Ukraine, blindly killing civilians, men, women, and children, and even targeting the European Union. This is why we are keeping maximum pressure on Russia. That means tightening our sanctions regime. We will come forward soon with our 19th package of hard-biting sanctions. And in parallel, we are advancing the work on the Russian frozen assets to contribute to Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. And of course, we are ensuring strong, unwavering support to Ukraine, our neighbor, partner, friend, and our future member. Thank you very much.
Residents of Ukraine's capital described their immediate reactions following a mass Russian drone and missile attack. According to Associated Press, the attack included a rare strike in the center of the city, early Thursday, and killed at least 8 people, wounding 45, local authorities said. Resident Sofia Akilova said it was the first time a Russian strike hit very close to her home. Everyone is suffering now. It's coming to any areas. As we can see, no negotiations have yielded anything yet. Unfortunately, people are suffering, added Akilova. It was the first major Russian combined attack on Kiev in weeks as US-led peace efforts to end the 3-year war struggled to gain traction. Among the dead were 2 children, Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko said, citing preliminary information. The numbers are expected to rise. Rescue teams were on site to pull people trapped underneath the rubble. Smoke billowed from the crumbled column of a 5-story residential building in the Darnitsky district, which suffered a direct hit. An acrid stench of burning material wafted in the air as firefighters worked to contain the blaze. Amid the destruction, emergency responders searched for survivors and pulled out bodies. Crowds of residents stood nearby, waiting for relatives to retrieve from the rubble.
Поки чекайте дозволу, поки не буде дозволено туди дозволу. На даний момент, на дану територію обмежено.
Ну, почув сильний вибух, прилетіло в сусідній будинок, впало на голову двері. Це все, що було. Всю квартиру розтрощило, у нас 2 машини побило. Так, поки зараз ще дуже не роздивлялися, вийшли одразу на вулицю і пішли в укриття.
Спочатку чула вибухи просто на фоні, а потім один сильний вибух, і тоді вже вибило вікна, і я хотіла вже вставати бігти, але одразу буквально пару секунд, і вже другий вибух був. І тоді вже все, ми вибігаємо, двері, вікно немає, але добре, що всі живі. Да, чесно, щоб так близько ще ніколи не прилітало. В будь-якому разі зараз страждають всі і прилітає в будь-які райони. І, як бачимо, ніякі перемовини поки нічого не дають, люди страждають, на жаль.
A heavy Russian drone and missile attack on Ukraine's capital killed at least 8 people and injured many more early on Thursday. According to Associated Press, the number of dead and injured was expected to rise as rescue teams continued to search for people trapped underneath the rubble. Russia launched decoy drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, according to the head of Kiev's city administration. At least 20 locations across 7 districts of Kiev had impacts. Nearly 100 buildings were damaged, including a shopping mall in the city center, and thousands of windows were shattered, he said. A 5-story residential building in the Darnitsky district was hit directly, while a rare strike in central Kiev left a major road strewn with glass. It was the first major Russian combined attack on Kiev in weeks as US-led peace efforts to end the 3-year war struggled to gain traction. It also was one of the few times Russian attacks reached the heart of the Ukrainian capital since the start of the full-scale invasion. The national railway operator, meanwhile, reported damage to its infrastructure in the Vinnytsia and Kyiv regions, causing delays. Thursday's attack is the first major combined Russian mass drone and missile attack to strike Kyiv since US President Donald Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska earlier this month to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. While a diplomatic push to end the war appeared to gain momentum shortly after that meeting, few details have emerged about the next steps. Responding to the attack, President Volodymyr Zelensky wrote on social media that it was time for new, tough sanctions against Russia. He said Moscow chooses ballistics instead of the negotiating table and did not fear the consequences of its actions.
потім їхали з воділи.